Hey everyone, welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5. Today I'm going to take a look at Curaleaf and the possibility it could be added to a major TSX index beginning in September. But first, this isn't confirmed just yet, but forecasts and reports suggest it's on the radar. If it does happen, it would be unusual for a U.S. cannabis operator and potentially significant for both the stock and really the broader industry. We'll walk you through how index inclusion works, why Curaleaf is in this position, what the reports are indicating, and what it could mean moving forward for Curaleaf. So saying that, this is the TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie, and once again, I am your host, Shad Dales. So let's get into it. So first, why is this even important? Curaleaf is listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange, a senior exchange. Most U.S. cannabis operators trade on the OTC or the CSE, and that keeps them off the radar of most large funds. By uplisting to the TSX in late 2023, Curaleaf became eligible for inclusion in mainstream indices. That doesn't mean it's automatically in, it just means it meets the rules to be considered. So if the index committee confirms Curaleaf in September, funds that track that index would be required to buy shares. That's the potential upside investors are watching right now. So next up, let's understand how it works, and here's the process. The S&P TX Composite Index is reviewed every quarter. S&P and Dow Jones indices look at criteria like market cap, liquidity, and free float. Companies that meet the rules can be added, and companies that don't may be dropped. If Curaleaf is officially added, ETFs and funds that mirror the composite would need to adjust their holdings and add the stock. That would create forced buying pressure, at least in the short term. But again, this is only if the official announcement confirms it. Nothing is guaranteed until that notice actually comes out. So why are we even seeing Curaleaf show up on forecasts? Because unlike other US operators, it has the TSX listing. That's the key differentiator. Without that, Curaleaf wouldn't even be in the conversation. So again, if confirmed, it would be one of the first major US cannabis names to enter a mainstream index like this, and that's why people are paying attention. So now, what's actually being reported? Forecast sheets for the September rebalance are circulating, and Curaleaf's name is showing up as a potential add. These forecasts are educated models based on index rules. But again, let's be clear, they are not official. The official list comes directly from the S&P Dow Jones indices in early September, with changes taking effect after the close on the third Friday of the month. So right now, we're in the wait-and-see stage. If the committee then does sign off, that's when the passive flows then would kick in. And if it is indeed signed off, this is what it could mean for the stock. If confirmed, history shows there's often a bump in price at index funds buy. It's not guaranteed and it doesn't always last, but the forced demand can be meaningful. Longer term, being in an index usually helps with liquidity, visibility, and credibility with the big investors. Now, if this news lines up with other catalysts like potential rescheduling headlines out of Washington, then the impact could be magnified. As we know, rescheduling would ease the 280E tax burden, which is one of the biggest headwinds for U.S. operators right now. But again, we're talking about ifs here. Nothing is certain yet. Now, when we look back, let's check in how Curaleaf has performed recently. Over the past 2 months, Curaleaf, as we know, has been one of the best performers in the sector. On the TSX, it's more than doubled, going from under $2 at the start of the summer to over $4 right here late in August. Peers like Green Thumb Industries and Truly, they've also rallied, but Curaleaf's percentage move has been the strongest. Add in Q2 earnings and $315 million in revenue, with about $41 million coming from international sales, and you've got real momentum behind the name. And that's really the context investors are watching as we head into September. So if this does happen, here's why index inclusion could matter beyond just a short-term bump. One is liquidity. More consistent trading, tighter spreads, easier for big players to move in and out. Two then is visibility. Index names get more analyst coverage and show up in more model portfolios. Then number three is index ecosystem. The TSX Composite is the base for many sub-indices. Being added once can lead to further inclusion down the road. But remember, all this is only relevant, again, if Curaleaf is indeed confirmed. But if they are added, it not only would benefit Curaleaf, but also the ETF angle. Curaleaf is already the largest single position in the MSOS ETF, marking in at around 22% of the fund. That means any big move in Curaleaf would mean a move in MSOS. Full disclosure, I am a shareholder of MSOS. So if Curaleaf jumps, MSOS would jump with it. And if rescheduling news lifts the whole sector at the same time, MSOS could see an amplified effect. So that's why this story matters, not just for Curaleaf shareholders, but really for anyone following U.S. cannabis stocks through MSOS. Before we go any further, a quick reminder, our sponsor of today's podcast is Dutchie. Dutchie powers cannabis retail across North America. From online ordering to in-store point of sale, they help dispensaries run smarter, faster, and more compliantly. So whether you're a consumer or a retailer, Dutchie is making the cannabis experience much better. Dutchie, powering cannabis commerce. If you want to learn more, visit business.dutchie.com. Now it's also important to outline a few cautions. Forecasts are not official. We need to wait for S&P Dow Jones indices to release the confirmed list. Not every index inclusion translates to a sustained price increase. Sometimes the move is short-lived, and regulatory catalysts like rescheduling are always unpredictable. Even if something is announced, the details and timeline, they do indeed matter. So it's important here to stay balanced. That said, if multiple catalysts stack, index inclusion plus rescheduling, then Curaleaf could be at the center of one of the bigger moves we've seen in cannabis stocks in quite some time. So really, that's the scenario people are gaming out right now, but it's only a scenario at this stage. Keep that in mind. So here's the takeaway and the bottom line. Curaleaf's TSX listing makes it eligible for index inclusion. Forecasts suggest it could happen in September, but until that official list is out, nothing is confirmed. If confirmed, inclusion would bring automatic buying from index funds, more liquidity, and really higher visibility. Combine that with the possibility of U.S. rescheduling news, and you can see the update scenario becomes much, much bigger. And remember, Curaleaf has already been the top performing stock in the sector over the last 2 months, which is why the potential index ad is drawing so much attention right now. So that's it for today's TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. What do you all think of this potential news about Curaleaf possibly being added to an index? And really what this means not only for the stock, but for the overall sector when it comes to visibility. Let us know by leaving your comments below on what you think this industry is poised to head towards over these next 1 to 2 months. As well, if you like this breakdown, make sure to give it a like, smash on that bell for all notifications, and if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to our channel here at TDR. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, and like I always say, stay open-minded, stay connected, and I'll see you next time in our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. I'm your host, Shad Dales, and thanks again for watching.